Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Alexanne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together. Hi, Achievers. I am so excited to be here with you. And today's guest, oh my goodness, she is the dynamic and multi-talented Susan Irby, and she's widely known as the Bikini Chef. She's an award-winning author, TV and radio producer, and media personality whose work in health, wellness, and food, yes, has reached millions worldwide. Millions, I'm telling you. And today we get to be privileged to hear from her. She's the creator, this is exciting, and producer of America's Next Bikini Chef. And they're casting right now. Yes, they are. It's a hit TV series blending clean eating, culinary creativity, and vibrant living, all about that active lifestyle. And when I first heard it, man, I was so intrigued. Bikini Chef? What is this? Okay, so that's amazing, right? To be all about the active lifestyle. Susan is also part of the Divas Empire, and she's a featured cast member in both Dining Divas and Destination Divas, bringing her signature blend of food, travel, and lifestyle to the screen. And, you know, I met Susan on the red carpet, and it was amazing. So I can tell you that what you're going to get today is going to be so incredible and inspiring for you. She's got 11, yes, published cookbooks, and including a cookbook on quinoa, right? A book just on quinoa.
Yes.
That's incredible. 8 Taste Awards, appearances on multiple media, including PBS, Fox News, BBC Radio, and so much more. And so her influence runs deep, from those Hollywood red carpets to empowering women like you in kitchens and beyond. And she does a lot of philanthropy and even has a children's book in the works. And I didn't happen to mention she also is a real estate mogul. She's here with us today. Welcome, Susan, to talk about wellness, reinvention, and what it means to create a life and career that truly nourishes you inside and out.
It is an honor and a privilege for me to be here with you, Carol. You have built me up so much, but you deserve all of the love and accolades yourself.
Oh.
You're so accomplished and just such a beautiful, genuine person inside, outside, and everything that you're doing. It's such a pleasure to be here, one unleashed and unstoppable. What woman doesn't want to embrace those terms, unleashed and unstoppable? Just let us go. And so thank you from the bottom of my heart for having me. And it was a gift to meet you on the red carpet.
Oh, it was wonderful. And we not only got to meet there, we got to reconnect at the Divas premiere for, let's see, Dining Divas California, right?
Well, it was the Dining Empire premiere and press party events. It was over 3 days, and we were releasing our current shows. So everything we shot last year is now being released in this quarter. And so it was the Dining Divas, Texas, their first episode, New York, And then, of course, Florida has been one of our flagship Dining Divas show for 7 years. And now we are launching Dining Divas California. And then also, we were there highlighting our episodes for Destination Divas, which is the travel version of our brand. And each, whether it's Dining Divas in a specific market or Destination Divas, we emphasize culture, diversity, cuisine, empowerment. We love sharing stories like yours, and we are planning to share your story as well.
So excited.
And I know your retreats that you're doing just sound super needed and very powerful, to helping people grow to be what they want to become in life. If they've already had a lot of accomplishments, there's always room to grow and change. And so it's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. You have navigated a multifaceted career, right? With the TV, the publishing, wellness, and business. Um, what are the beliefs or the subconscious patterns that you've had to overcome and that you really had to work through to expand into this next level version of yourself?
I would say the biggest hurdle I've had to overcome is staying true to my passions during this journey of, I would like to say, of 25 years, but honestly, I go all the way back to when I was the 13-year-old girl. I wanted to be a model and an actress. I was raised in the South. So I was born and raised in Georgia. My family still has a lake house in Alabama. So we still spend a lot of time in the South. And I love the South. We're very Christian faith-based family. I've always had my faith and conviction to God and belief in God.
Wow.
And I never lost that.
Mm.
However, I had a little bit of a confidence issue, and I would allow other people to kind of squash my dreams. And I've really been fighting my entire life to get and so I've had some successes, I've had some pitfalls, I've had some major pitfalls, but I just continually dig down deeply, cling to my faith. And I one thing I've done, I guess I'm not super great at math, but since 2009 is I really just dug down to say, you know what, God, you've instilled these passions in my heart. You gave me these talents. So you obviously gave me these talents and passions for a reason. What are we doing? And
Mm.
it's been a journey. Everybody's life is a journey.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a special journey. And I'm just so grateful and blessed to be where I am now and moving into the next level of my journey in my life. And it's super special, and I can't wait to share it with everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story and that, stepping into those confidence pieces. So many of us, including myself, have lived other people's plans for our lives, everybody else's plans for our lives. And went in and said, "Hey, I've got these talents. I've got this passion in my heart. I've got these gifts. What do I do with this?" And I love that. I think, when we can trust that those desires that are in our hearts are from our source, from our God, that He's gifted those to us and that they are a part of our walk here, to lean into that. Look at, how you've been able to reach millions through this. And
Well,
so,
when I really truly gave over to it, I mean, again, it's been a journey. People, when they see the show, America's Next Bikini Chef, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's this overnight sensation. It's anything
yeah,
but that,
yeah.
that
Yeah.
show is 25 years of my life, but really going back to that 13-year-old girl, it's really
Yes.
that entire life journey coming to fruition in this form. And I had to experience I had to experience every single element of that journey in order to get me to where I am now, to be able to share the message of empowerment and further health and wellness and further just staying true to your dreams and passions. And we hear that often.
Yeah.
We do hear people say that a lot, but it really, really is true. And it's I think it's really when you let go and give over to your higher purpose
Yeah.
and what that is, and trusting you won't know what it's going to look like. You won't have control over so many things, but yet they're all, when you stay open to the universe and open to positivity and very alert and aware of the people that you surround yourself with and
Yeah.
invite into your life, um, and you do an inventory of, along your journey of those that are not serving you well. They're probably selfish and for their own purposes.
Mhm.
And it takes a lot of courage and strength to change your relationships,
Yeah.
to change how you embrace relationships. And I'm talking all relationships. I'm not talking like,
Yeah.
and I'm talking everything. And whether it's business, personal, family,
Mhm.
friendships you may have had for very, very long times, relationships with organizations, you really have to make sure that they align with your talents and your gifts and your
Mhm.
higher purpose. And I feel that I'm finally getting to that place. I mean, it's been there
Yeah.
along the way, but I kept getting in my own way. Have you ever gotten in your own way?
Oh, yeah, that's like all the self-sabotage, right? Right? And
Yeah.
the trust and surrender, and the uncertainty that you mentioned, that is really what will send our brains into a tailspin. It's where we get so uncomfortable, and yet being able to put the trust part in place and trust that even though the path was uncertain, that you could walk with courage through it. And that is really so powerful. I want to know, like so many women on this path hit burnout, chasing success, they're chasing it. So what has your personal experience been with reinvention, with health, even with grief? How's that shaped the way that you define wealth and leadership today?
I've been through a lot of those moments. And when you talk about um just when you wanted the burnout, I have been burnout several times, wanted to give up, and then I just take a break from it. But I don't give up. I
Mm.
just pause. And what I do during those times, and then that's really when, again, I've never lost my faith, but I really, really started deep diving into my Bible, into my devotionals, and really studying and paying attention to what the word was saying to me and what God was trying to tell me, and wanting to give up even on a marriage, which ultimately I did separate from that person, but it was the longest relationship I've had. And God wanted me to stay in that situation, which was very challenging on so many levels. That is its own story in itself. But it was God's way of taking me down to the bare bones minimum, just that rawness to make me the strong, courageous woman I am
Mm.
before you right now. And I had to go through that and I journal. So I have, and I save them all. So I really do a deep dive in journal. And so when I pass from the earth, if someone finds my library of journals, they're gonna have a field day.
You should turn
I,
them into books.
I
Yeah.
know. I've saved them all for probably the last 35 years or more. And actually more, yeah. And but I write out my prayers.
I love
And
that.
yeah, it's very beneficial to me. And, when I want to be angry and when I'm terrified, which just a week ago I was completely terrified and
Mhm.
doubting. And I'm like, no, no, no. I had like real conversations and I get mad. I'm like, what are we doing here? I'm sorry. I'm scared. I, I believe, but I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And and then messages come to me that help me get through it, but writing out my prayers, and I always make sure that my prayers are not only about me. They're not about my needs. They're about other needs. They're about the people that are supporting me along this journey. I pray for them. I thank them, for their belief in me and my projects. I'm very grateful. I'm grateful to my family. I pray for others for healing, and if I know that they're going through things. So it's really just that spirit, the spiritual gifts
Yeah.
of recognizing your own gifts and blessings, but then seeing the needs of others and writing out literally a gratitude list. I'm grateful for my sweet parents, my family. You wouldn't believe how many times I've written, I'm grateful for my bedroom and this bed. It's like beautiful and just the comforts that I have that so many others don't have.
Yeah.
It's really taught me to approach life from a spirit of joy and gratitude,
Mm.
and it's transformed my life. It has transformed my life, and um, not even the not so distant past, but I was kind of beating myself up over decisions that I made 25 years ago, 30 years ago in my life where I felt God was really handing me things, but I just I was it was the I kind of
Mhm.
perspective. Oh, I can do it. I've got it. I can do it.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. It's a we.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you finally get that it's a we situation and you really find the gratitude, it changes, you're a neuro coach.
Yeah.
It changes your mental approach to everything that you do. And that's made the
Yeah.
biggest difference for me in the last several years, but definitely the last year. I
We
mean,
we don't
yeah,
even realize the power we have, do we? We really don't step into it. And I also love how you brought up about bringing people into your space, being mindful of who you're surrounded by, and then also in regard to the marriage you were in, trusting that everything's happening for you and what it took you down to get really raw. And then remembering that, we're co-creators. And it's so true. We are creators. This is a key element of the work I do with women in helping them to produce seven-figure wealth. This is where we have power. And, stepping into the gratitude. Gratitude is such a beautiful gift, right?
it
And
is and is. And when you approach everything from that spirit of gratitude, blessed, grateful, and it really is transforming, and your entire world opens up. And you still have to be discerning. You
yeah,
have to have that spirit of discernment, um, but from a position of gratitude. So even if you say no to something, you're still do it with a spirit of joy and gratitude.
Mm,
Thank you for this opportunity. It's not for me, or this might not be aligning. However,
yeah,
you're you're wishing the best for them in their journey, because everybody's journey is different, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Being able to say no to really good things in order to say yes to the best things. But in that energy, that is a very positive, high vibe energy that absolutely shifts things on an energetic and a spiritual level. So now the
What?
food, oh, go ahead.
Well, I just want really quickly, I uh when we were talking earlier about like those pitfalls and how it's been ups and downs ever since I was 13 years old and listening to others, I
Yeah.
think, back then I wasn't paying attention to my intuition
Right.
and listening to those voices. And women, I feel we get that little ping in our stomach.
Mhm.
There's just something, an awareness. And I feel that it is very attuned to women in particular.
Wow.
Uh, and I feel that I've done more over my lifetime and journey of getting better at listening to my intuition and paying attention to, I call it what God is telling me to do.
Mhm.
Um, whatever a person's power is their belief, but for
Yeah.
me, it's that. But when I was younger and with making these decisions based on other people's version of their life for me, I wasn't, I wasn't fully I didn't have the courage to stand
Mhm.
up to say, this is my intuition. This is what I'm feeling. And I was afraid and I didn't have the courage to stand up. But as soon as I started having that courage, and
Mhm.
it's a muscle, right? It's like working
Yeah.
out. As soon as I started gaining the strength, I keep listening to my intuition.
Yeah.
And then the doors keep opening in a way that aligns with my talents and my
Mhm.
passions. Then so I've gotten so much better at listening to my intuitions.
I love that. I love that. It's so powerful, those whispers, I should put it the ping. And it comes that way. It comes in that still small voice, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Which is actually a movie that one of my clients has written, has created. Her scripts won multiple awards. So quick shout out.
Yeah.
So she knows who she is. But yeah, that's so important, learning how to trust ourselves. And when we go in and do that internal work, get the internal approval rather than seeking the continual performance-based acceptance, the external validation is when we can recognize what's being whispered to us, what's being shared with us, and that, we can trust it and follow it, even when it might be different than we expect, right? Very
It
different.
might seem a little crazy at the time, or like really I don't want to use the word crazy. I like to say it might seem impossible in the
Yeah,
moment. It
very
might
true.
seem impossible, but
Yeah,
everything is possible.
everything.
And
Yeah,
and everything is a step, right? So it's it's this small step, and then that might leads to the next big step, and then there's another small, and then a few small, and then you might feel discouraged and be like, oh, but you just
yeah.
got to keep moving forward.
It does take courage. I want to ask you, the food we eat, it it has a great impact on our brain, our mood, our hormones, our capacity to lead even. So, what are your top insights in helping us to really align with the physical health that we want to have and to be able to eat in a way that will directly impact our vision, our performance. I'd love to hear your insights here.
Yeah, well, I am certified in food healing. So but I grew up, even before that, my mother was a culinary arts and nutrition major.
Okay.
And so she taught me, our entire family, that a colorful plate is a healthy plate. And it's one of my favorite quotes.
Mm.
And and so she always made sure that our family had nutritious meals. I am very, very fortunate that both of my parents are still alive today.
No,
And yes,
yeah.
and I was speaking with them on the phone earlier this week, and my mother was she's 88. She was so excited
Wow.
about passing her vision test for driving and her driving test. And she said
Yay.
they she's like, Sue, she calls me Sue. Sue, they had to take a photo of me for my new driver's license. She goes, I looked at my old license, I look 10 years younger.
Love this so much. Yeah.
And I said, you do. I was just there. We were just in Florida where they live. And I said, Mom and Dad, when I was with you and I had just seen you in January, I said, you do look 10 years younger. I said, what is your secret? And she says, well, blueberries and lean proteins and fresh vegetables, and that's really
Wow.
what it is. But when it comes to brain health, absolutely, there are certain foods that we can eat that encourage brain development. Walnuts, it would be one of those. Eyesight, the anything with the rich colors, the vibrant colors, the blues, the reds, the beets, each of those, anything with those vibrant colors is really going to, they say eat the spectrum, right? Eat the
Yeah.
colors. Well, so I do eat a lot of fish, salmon. I stay away from too much tuna because it does have a high contains mercury.
Mhm.
Um, I eat but again I do eat eggs, and I buy the organic cage-free
Yeah.
eggs. But it is the lean proteins, the high fiber foods, the healthy fats, everything that I'm promoting in America's Next Bikini Chef. So the contestants will need to present I call it the PFS,
Yeah.
a PFF compliant dish. So it'll be a lean protein, a high fiber food, and a healthy fat. And those are the items that I eat every day. And a healthy fat is going to be like coconut oil, avocado, nuts, things like that, versus the cheeses and the fried foods. And
Yeah.
yeah, so when you speak to that in that positive energy and the courage that we have when you nourish your body with really powerful nutrients, your
Yeah.
body and your brain will feel more alive, more awake. You'll have more energy to
Mhm.
accomplish your dreams and passions that you want to do versus, you know, I mean, we've all done it. If you eat some fried food, or you eat, I don't eat hamburgers.
Yeah.
Tell you the last time I ate a hamburger. If I did, it just slows my digestion down,
Mm.
bogs down your body. It just takes a long time for your body to digest that. So
Yeah.
so you really want to eat high fiber foods that help your body flow, and drinking that water. I know I myself, a lot of times um I'm like, oh, I gotta keep drinking water, but I put lemon in it, or I
Yeah.
love cucumber and mint leaves in
Oh,
my
I
water.
do too. Yeah.
Very refreshing.
Yeah.
Uh, so just making sure that, because food and refreshment is fuel for the body and the brain.
I love this. This is super helpful. I have just started a program called Whole 30, and it's very similar to paleo, or probably the PFF that you mentioned. It's lean protein, fruits, and vegetables. And you're cutting out seed oil, sugars, alcohols, processed foods, preservatives, all this stuff that clogs up our system. My energy has improved immediately. My insulin sensitivity has improved immediately. I've been type 1 for 53 years.
Wow.
And, so taking care of myself, eating organic, pesticide free, getting in those healthy fats are very important. And I really appreciate you leaning into this because we're a temple and everything is energy, everything. And so these kind of foods are high vibe energy. And I love thinking about that when I go to eat, berries or, something that makes me feel good, dark greens. I'm like, you know, I'm putting a high vibe, high energy food into my temple right now.
Right. Right. I
Yeah,
know. And when you're really consciously aware of that, it really does change the way that you eat. And and it changes your perspective when you go to the grocery store. And when you shop at the grocery store, try to shop on the perimeter because that's where the
yeah,
fresh fruits and vegetables are. That's where the proteins are going to be. Um, and my body has really never craved all of those kinds of foods. And again, I was raised, my mom, sure, we're from the South. We love to make fried chicken, but I'll
yeah.
have fried chicken maybe once a year, maybe,
Mm,
or um, when we get together at the lake, we will have fried catfish night or, fried fish night because we like to go fishing. But
right.
it's really just, it's that one time and so it's not about, I mean, there are a lot of hardcore people out there, that like
Yeah,
they'll never eat it. But I would say the average person,
yeah,
really struggles with, a diet, or if they weren't raised eating these kinds of foods, if they weren't raised in this direction, then it's hard for them to it goes back to the mind or the neuro. It's hard for them to imagine that these foods are going to taste good because they've
yeah,
been brought up on high fat foods
yeah.
and probably a lot of cheese and probably maybe fast foods
Mm,
and um, processed foods
yeah,
and packaged foods. So they may have been raised on that. So it's a mindset too. And it's very difficult to sometimes get someone to change that mindset.
yeah,
They're afraid.
yeah,
Honestly, they're afraid to. They're like, what is this going to taste like? How is that going to be good for me? How am I going to do this? I'm going to feel like a failure if I can't do it.
yeah.
So, fears are everywhere.
Mm,
Doubt and fear and challenges are everywhere, even as something as simple as food choices and changing your food choices.
yeah.
But that's one thing that is super thrilling about America's Next Bikini Chef because it's the first ever figure flattering chef television series competition.
So much. It's so
It
cool.
all you if you look at television competition, food competition shows, they really don't pay attention to a healthy approach to it.
Yeah,
All about who can chop the fastest, who can make the
yeah,
best sauces, who can do this and this with that ingredient. And it's not necessarily, you know, and emphasizing a healthier approach.
yeah.
And so I am thrilled about this show because my cookbooks even, I have some
Yeah, I want to see your cookbooks. Show us your cookbooks.
well, it all started with this one, which was cooking with Susan Southern Family Favorites, which are not um they're not the healthiest dishes, but I had the passion. I was unhappy and stressed out in a corporate job, and I would go home and to relax and de-stress, I would make up recipes in the kitchen. And
Mm,
God had put it in my heart to be a writer, but I never had the courage. I didn't think that my writing was worthy or,
wow.
who's going to want to read it. And so I went to a writers conference and one of the speakers, she said, do what you know. Just write what you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. So I thought, well, I know how to write and I know how to cook. So
Mhm.
I will write a cookbook.
That's perfect.
So that's what I did. And I self-published it. And I wrote my own press releases because I'm a journalism major. And I did my own book tour. And that is where the media asked
Wow.
me, they're like, well, you know, cooking with Susan Southern Family Favorites is delicious, but you're in great shape. You must not eat this all the time. And I said, you're right, I don't. I said, my mom taught me a colorful plate is a healthy plate. And 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 so they wanted to know what I was eating for on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So I started sharing that. And then they asked me what cooking reminded me of, and it does remind me of home and our house on Lake Martin, which started out as a two-room little cabin, and now it's a house, but it didn't start out that way. We didn't have we had electricity, but we did not have air conditioning.
Mm.
We did not have a television. And it was fantastic. We would just go and play cards and fish and water ski all day. And we would end up making dinner in our bathing suits. And so when I shared that story, the media named me the Bikini Chef.
I love it.
Yeah. So it was it's not, people think, oh, the Bikini Chef, what, do you cook in a bikini? And I'm like, well, yeah, we do when we're at the lake in Alabama and we're water skiing. Um, I got asked that question so much that I I had a chef coat made with little circle cutouts in it. And it was very tasteful and fun and fashionable. And it's a white chef coat and it's well fitted and I had these pink circles made and I would wear my bikini top underneath the chef coat and I would wear it with these cute pedal pusher pants and heels so that when people ask me, do you cook in a bikini? I say, yes, I do. I'm wearing my bikini right now.
I love that.
You can't really see it. I mean, you can, but you can't. Yeah.
That.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But then over the years, the Bikini Chef then became the signature brand for
Yeah.
figure flattering flavors and healthy
Mhm.
approach to food. And then those PFFs. So my recipes really do taste great. They are lean proteins, high fiber foods, healthy
Mhm.
fats. And and when I was sitting here asking God less than a year ago. I mean, I had been praying what to do with the Bikini Chef beyond recipes and cookbooks for
Yeah.
20 years, long
Yeah.
time.
Okay.
But yeah, last year, God finally spoke to me and he said, this is what we're doing. And I'm like, we're doing America's Next Bikini Chef. And I'm like, okay, all right, let's do it. And that was less than a year ago. And now,
Mhm.
um, yeah, we're gonna start filming very soon. So yeah.
Well, I very much relate to that with the passion in what I do. I definitely, it's that whisper in our heart. It's knowing that it's been put there for a reason. And so this is beautiful because you leaned in, you asked, you listened, and look at what you're doing to help all of us, inspire all of us to live our best, our fullest, our most fulfilled and vibrant lives. And I enjoyed being at the premiere in Fort Lauderdale and got to watch you shoot a little bit. In fact, I think I walked across your path and you were like, "Hey, we're shooting." I was like, "Oh, yeah."
Yeah,
But
well, we were about 2 hours late. And then when we started, I'm like, oh, Betty's coming. Like, wait, we have to get this shot. But no, it was great. It was wonderful to have you there. It was such a gift and blessing to have you
thank
there.
you.
You bring such a bright light and energy to everywhere you
Thank
go.
you.
And so it was truly an honor.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and it is thrilling. And going back to listening, you said I asked and I listened, but for a long time I was doing a lot of asking, but
Yeah.
I wasn't fully listening and
Mm,
I wasn't fully taking heed to my intuition. I had to really learn to develop that.
Mhm.
listening and paying attention to
It's a
that.
training, isn't it?
It is. It's a very specific training.
Yeah.
And the earlier on in life you can learn that, then the more the more your passions and visions and dreams and your purpose for life is going to open up before you. Uh,
Yeah.
it truly will.
I love that. Well, with all the platforms you've created that do inspire all of us, like America's Next Bikini Chef and the Dining Divas, what are the specific mindset beliefs that helped you with visibility? And I know you've spoken into that, some of the, all of the things that have caused you to lean in, but what would you say to that woman who knows that she's meant for more, but she's stuck and she's staying behind the scenes?
Change one small thing.
Mm.
One small thing. So for me, a wake-up call for me was I was turning 50 and I wanted to and everything that was happening in my life at that time was extremely chaotic.
Yeah.
My marriage, his mother was ill.
Mm.
My stepdaughter, her mother became ill. My stepdaughter, I was surrounded by complete chaos. So
Mm.
I thought, well, what do I love to do
Yeah.
that would nurture my soul, that would just help me to maintain my sanity, but get me unstuck? And so I'm a runner. So I set a goal to run a marathon.
Nice.
Now, you don't have to set a goal of running a marathon,
Yeah.
but what it did though was set an intention that aligned with my passions
Yeah.
and my desire to be health and wellness
Mm.
oriented.
Yeah.
And I just made a one change that this was my goal. And
Wow.
this was the date I set. I was going to set it to do that on my 50th birthday.
Mm.
And I set out to find a specific place where I could do that. And then I set small daily goals. So whether it was running 1 mile or doing a swim workout to keep
Mm.
my bones and muscles flexible. But it really started with a small intention, recog recognizing, having listening to that intuition.
Yeah.
I'm stuck, but I don't want to give up. What do I do? Your mind and your body are going to be telling you
Yeah.
something to pay attention. Just make one small shift. And that one small shift and set a goal, realistic but achievable goal, and just make that one small shift and work towards that.
Mm.
Um, doesn't mean every day is going to be perfect,
Yeah.
but every day is mindful awareness and just making that one small shift, and you will naturally become unstuck.
Oh, I love that. That's such great advice, right? How do you walk 1,000 miles? One step at a time, right? And so, so much wisdom. If you're out there and you're feeling stuck, you're feeling hidden, really lean in and listen to what Susan has shared because what an inspiration you are. And I appreciate you so, so deeply for coming on and bringing us all this amazing information to help us, again, to really live positive, great lives. And I see you doing that. You're walking the talk. You're, the action and motion of being out there and gifting to people. And you're so kind and generous and, welcoming to the people that you meet. And then you're also, I see you being surrounded by the kind of people that you mentioned before that are really walking the journey of elevation and impact with you. And I'd love to know when you're looking back, what is a really defining moment when you realized that healing and purpose and alignment were absolutely the most powerful things. And that it wasn't about a hustle version of success. It was really about, these true things. Like, do you have one defining moment? You mentioned 13 as a key pivotal stage in your life that, it's like you had an awakening, and yet you looking back, you see, how much has been in the journey, but it can even be a point of failure, first attempt in learning, right?
Yes. So I don't know if I have one key. There is one key I will get to, but briefly. So 13 was when I had those passions and dreams and this. And then when I graduated, before I even went to college, actually, I didn't really even want to go to college. My mom wanted me to go to college. Everybody else went to college. Like, no, you need to go to college. And I'm like, okay. I wanted to be like an executive secretary and, but no, I went to college and
Thank
then
goodness for your mom.
I know, right? And then when I graduated college, she had a large influence on how my life changed in a direction that that wasn't in alignment with my goals. And
Mhm.
I beat myself up over that for years, many, 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 many years. And it sidetracked my life for a very long time. And I believe it was in that relationship and that journey that started in 2009 and in that marriage. And I was committed. I had been married previously. I'm not ashamed to say I had been married 2 times previously and and I'm not blaming other people. I blame
No.
myself. I own my decisions. I was an adult, but I did allow others to impact. I didn't have the courage to stand up for what I for my passions and my
Mhm.
desires and my talents. And so I got into these situations and they sidetracked my life and I was still fighting my way and clawing through and
Wow.
writing books and doing shows and things just
I
but
can
still,
feel that. Yeah.
yeah, just still fighting and climbing to get back to where I was when I was 13. And there were several pivotal moments, but there was a moment when I was still in that marriage, 2009, and I decided, no, I'm going to stay here. I'm not fleeing this time. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to deep dive into myself
Mm.
to figure out where is my real courage? Where are my real passions?
Wow.
And then that led to a pivotal moment during that time again when I was just turning 50. And I was like, you know what? You're turning 50. What are we doing?
Yeah.
And I made that small shift. But really, the biggest came about this time last year. I may cry, but about this time last year, I had been praying, like I said, I'd been praying for 20 years. Lord, what are we doing with the Bikini Chef? What are we doing? And I kept asking, and we kept growing me during this time. But I was sitting on my couch in San Juan Capistrano, California, which is an hour from Los Angeles. I was invited to the Taste Awards. I had won 7 awards previously. I was then an ambassador, but I was sitting on the couch with my 82-year-old companion, and it's a Monday at night, and I was like, do I really want to get dressed up and go? And I looked around, and it's beautiful. I live in a beautiful space, and he's a wonderful man. But I looked around, and I just was like, you know what, Susan, is this what you want your life to be? Is this what you want your
Yeah.
messaging to be for the rest of your time here on earth? And
Yeah.
I said, no. And
Mm.
God said, well, get up, throw on a gown, put on some, and go to LA. And I did. And I met the divas.
Wow. Wow. So I love this story. I was going to ask you how you got connected, because what an incredible group. I mean, I've just had the most recent interaction with them, and definitely feel very much in alignment and all the energy and the love and the passion. Yes. So this is so
Yeah.
cool.
So
So then what
yeah, I
unfolded from there? Yeah.
Oh, well, I really didn't go up and I just there was a particular diva who was wearing this gorgeous, I mean, they were all wearing gorgeous dresses,
Yeah.
right? But there was one in particular, I was like, wow, I just really want to compliment her on her dress. And so I did, and we started chatting. And I said, well, tell me about what you're doing. And she was telling me about the divas and the dining divas, Florida, and then Destination Divas. And I said, wow, I said, so I've really been wanting to get back into television production because I had been out of it since 2014. And so it had been 10 years. I said, I really want to get back into television production. However, I said, I love men, I respect men, but I want to work with empowered women and just yes, I want to work with kind, empowered, intelligent, respectful women. And she said, do you have a card? And then I really didn't talk too much to them late, much that further that evening. But then I was introduced to Christine on a video conference. Loved Christine. My webmaster had been wanting me to take new bikini pictures for my website and for years. And I just wasn't feeling very bikini photo ready. So I was like, okay, I guess I can. And I've been working towards that. And so Christine invited me. I was a paid sponsor. So I flew to Orlando. She's like, come to Orlando, be in our Destination Divas Orlando episode. And while you're there, we'll do your bikini photo shoot. And I said, okay, that makes sense to me. Twist my arm. So literally, I did not know any of these women. I literally woke up that morning. My suitcase was packed. I woke up. I read my Bible and my devotional every morning. I literally was like thinking, I'm like, Lord, I'm like, what am I doing? This seems just crazy. I don't know, but I studied the book of Esther years
Mm,
ago. And in
yeah.
the book of Esther, for
Yeah.
such a time, right? For such a
Yeah.
chapter 4. And it's for such a time as this. I literally every morning I open my Bible to a random, non-random page because every morning is, and that morning I was supposed to fly out. I opened my Bible and right there were the words, for such a time as this. And I was like,
Wow.
okay. I'm like, okay, that's all I needed to know.
Yeah.
Got on the plane, flew to Orlando. I spent an entire week with them. There was no drama. It was such a beautiful experience. Wonderful ladies, so intelligent. It was just a beautiful, beautiful week with them.
Wow.
And I loved it so much that then when I came home, God said, okay, that was a test. Now we're going to take it to the next level. I'm going to have you invest in Dining Empire. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
So I became an investor partner,
Wow.
yeah, in Dining Empire. And then he just kept going with it. He just kept going, okay, now you're investor in Dining Empire. And he's like, now I want you to go on this mastermind to the Bahamas. There was a category 5 hurricane.
Wow.
And
Been there, done that.
and Kim and you met Kim, I call her twin. We're here in California. And we're like, do we get on the plane? Do we go? Do we
Yeah.
not? We're flying. We have to fly over a category 5 hurricane. And the whole day we kept watching, the airline and it was green on time, green. I'm like, dear Lord, if you don't want me to go, you're going to have to tell me, you
Yeah.
know, you have to do a roadblock because if I don't get a roadblock, then I'm going to go green on. We went to the airport.
Wow.
All of our flights were on time. One of the smoothest flights we've ever had in our lives. There was no turbulence. Flew right
Wow.
over that hurricane, landed in the Bahamas. It's sunny, it's gorgeous.
That's
We
so
actually felt
amazing.
guilty, right?
Yeah, it's so
But
crazy.
again, and then that was when
Man.
what are we doing with the show? And then he woke me up one morning and he said, we're doing America's Next Bikini Chef. And I'm like, okay, I'm in.
There you go.
All of that was less than 1 year ago.
Wow. Wow.
1 year.
So you're in open casting for this right
Yeah.
now, right? Tell us about that. What does that look like?
It's the contestants need to fill out an application. There's a fillable application online. Very easy. I filled it out myself when I was testing it, so it works really well. And then I need them to submit a video. So 1 to 3 minute video of them sharing a PFF friendly dish with me. So the lean protein, high fiber food, healthy fat. Then I want to them to show me an active lifestyle activity. That can be something as simple as walking their dog, or
Mm,
if they go to the gym and there's a rock climbing wall, just send me a few minutes of something you like to do that's an active lifestyle. And then I do want to hear what the Bikini Chef means to them. How would they represent the platform? But it's very simple, 1 to 3 minute video, send it over, and we'll take a look. We're filming in 7 markets.
wow.
This is very exciting because we'll have contestants can come to Los Angeles, so they don't have to live in California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, New York, or Illinois. They don't have to live in the state. They submit online, and if they make it to the next round, they will be invited to go to any of the markets that they want to go to, um, and be a contestant in person. And they will present. So we'll have up to 15, no more than 15 contestants in each market. And they will
Wow.
present their dish wearing a bikini and an apron. So they will be in a swimsuit. They'll be wearing an apron, and it's really fun. And you can see the sizzle online. And they'll present their dish to the judges. We have a panel of 5 judges. I'm a judge. Christine is. We have Chef Bluebeard, and we'll have 2 guest judges in each market. And then we'll narrow it down to the top 10. Those top 10 will come back the next day, and they will demonstrate their active lifestyle activity. They will talk about, their interview question. What does the Bikini Chef mean? And we'll narrow it down to the top 5, and we'll have a regional winner.
That is so amazing. That is really cool. It's going to be quite a broad project
It
and
is.
a fun one.
Yes. So we'll have a regional winner. The winner in each region, we'll have 6 regional winners, and it'll be the Bikini Chef California, the Bikini Chef Texas. The regional winners win $25,000 cash
Wow.
plus $5,000 to support their charity of choice.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that.
No, no,
Absolutely
no,
love
I'm
that.
sorry, I misspoke. We need to edit that. No.
Okay. Okay.
So we'll have 6 regional winners. Each of the 6 regional winners, so the Bikini Chef California, the Bikini Chef Texas, Florida, they will win $10,000
Oh,
cash
wow.
and 5,000 additional dollars for the charity of their choice.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. How exciting is
Yes,
that? I mean,
yes.
what a fun project, concept, and really empowering women and expanding, our ability to live and eat healthy.
Then
Um,
those 6 regional winners will be flown to Las Vegas to stay and then compete for the grand title of America's Next Bikini Chef. And the
wow.
grand finale winner gets an additional $25,000. Um,
That,
yeah.
that's quite a great prize package.
And it's a great prize package, and I want the women. I did when I was 13, I did go to modeling school, and my modeling instructor encouraged me to do beauty pageants. So I did a lot of preliminary Miss America pageants,
Yeah.
and and I really want that cash money similar to the pageant system so that women can use that
Yeah.
um, to further their careers, if they have their empowered idea, to follow their intuitions and have that courage and to have that little bit of cushion to help them get going to
Yeah.
celebrate their passions and some towards their charity. So it's very important that we give back to women, to help support their dreams.
Wow. Well, I thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing this. I appreciate you so deeply. I'm feeling a part two already because I feel like I've got like 10 more questions that I want to ask, knowing that you have been a chef in foreign countries and, as well as your theater background. And Susan, it's been so wonderful to have you. I would love for you to leave us with some final words on how we can be unleashed and unstoppable, and let us know everywhere we can be in touch with you.
The best way to be unleashed and unstoppable is to trust your God-given gifts and talents and know that those desires and passions were put in your heart and mind for a specific purpose.
Mhm.
And when you unleash and you're unstoppable, then you will be able to not only have your self fulfillment, but you'll get so much because your purpose is serving other people.
Mhm.
If you leash yourself and stop yourself, then you're not giving the gift of benefiting the world. The world needs to know your passions. They need to know your talents, your beauty. And so sharing that is so powerful. And then you're rewarded that with that natural sense of joy and gratitude, because you're giving, you're unleashed, you're unstoppable. You're giving of yourself to the world, your talents, your passions. And that's my biggest thing. Once you do that, you are unleashed and unstoppable. And I can't wait to meet all of the women who are listening right now. I want to hear from them what they're doing to make
Yeah.
that small shift, that take that next step of courage. You're going to have fears, you're going to have doubts, but that's where people like Carol Register and her platform here can help you break out and have courage and push past those fears and doubts because we all have them. You're not alone. You're not alone, but we're all here to support you. And we really are.
That's
And that's the
right.
truth.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And thank you again. What an honor. Are you guys inspired? I'm so inspired, right?
I'm
And
inspired just being here chatting with you all. I can't wait. If anybody has any questions, they're always free to, message me on Instagram, The Bikini Chef. You can find me in so many places like America's Next Bikini Chef, The Bikini Chef,
yeah,
theBikiniChef.com. You can email me, casting at theBikiniChef.com, Susan at theBikiniChef.com. I truly, I feel honored and gift not just to be on your show, Carol, but to be where I am today, doing what I'm doing. Never give up, keep moving forward, stay positive, surround yourself with people like Carol
mm.
and the people that are part of her show and podcast, and
And the
empower
dining empire,
women.
the Diva Empire, right?
Yes,
The
the
Diva.
Diva Empire Dining. We have the Diva Network
Yeah,
of women that is in women helping women. Yes, the Diva Network is incredible. Please join Diva Network.
yeah.
We can find all of that on all of our Instagram pages and websites. And thank you
We'll
so
have it all in the show notes for you as well.
thank you. It's been such an honor. Thank you. And I
Thank
hope
you.
I get to see you soon.
I know, I know. I think we will. So there's like something coming up, California next week, right? So,
Yes.
um, okay, wild achievers, wildly ambitious leaders, and high achievers. I am so thankful that you've been able to catch this episode. And do reach out and let Susan know what she's asking. Give her the comments and the feedback, because this is where we really do interrelationship, connection, collaboration on these super high levels. And we've gotten so many gold nuggets today about ways to move forward and ways for you to be able to expand your world, lean into your purpose, and impact in the ways that bring you joy. So we'll see you next week. Ciao
Okay.
for now. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review, and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.